So a couple years ago, I found out about self-improvement. I got pretty excited. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna make all this progress in my life. So I watched all these videos, hours every single day, and I made no progress at all. So I started realizing, okay, cool, I'm gonna start taking action. So I'd take a lot of action, I'd make a bunch of progress, but then I would keep on ending up in the same spot that I started. So if this sounds like the reality for you, I want you to watch this because I'm about to share some advice you've probably never heard. This is a huge game changer for me, and it's helped me make progress faster than ever. So if you're tired of being in the same spot and tired of hearing the same advice that doesn't really work that much, I want you to watch this because this will help you make progress much more consistently and much faster. So for new growth to happen, you must kill off the old you. Listen to that again. So for new growth to happen, you must kill off the old you. What does that mean? So basically, to make extreme changes in your life, you need to make extreme changes to yourself as a person. So the person that you are right now controls all the actions you end up actually taking. You basically need to kill yourself. Well, kill your older self, because your older self is the reason why you're here right now. So you need to become a new person in order to reach these goals in this life that you want to live. So the progress that you're able to make and maintain is almost 100% controlled by your self-image and what you actually see of yourself. So your progress doesn't really ever go above your self-image and what you see of yourself. So what is your self-image? So a lot of your self-image is from childhood, and it's from a lot of the stories you were told about life, what you're capable of, the way you should act, all of these things. And all of these things you were taught are still deeply ingrained in the way that you act and think today. So they still affect the way you do things today. So the actions you actually end up taking time and time again are based off of what you believe is possible about the world and what you think you're actually capable of. Why would you do something that you don't believe in? Why would you do something that you don't think is realistic or even possible? So we only do things that we believe that are possible and we think we can actually do. And the problem is, a lot of times when we want to make a huge change, it goes against what our beliefs are. So the actions that we keep on taking time and time again are based off of our self-image, who we think we are, what we think we're meant to do, what our beliefs are, the things we were taught from childhood, the things that we were conditioned to think. You're basically your whole identity, right? What you identify with. All those things control the actions we actually end up taking. So once again, you act as you see yourself. So if you see yourself as that lonely video gamer who doesn't have any friends, who's just kind of bad socially, and you genuinely think that's just who you are as a person, then you're not going to make any actions to change it because you don't think you can change, and you just believe that's who you are and there's nothing you can really do about it. And that keeps on solidifying the actions you keep on taking. So it's really important that we change what our self-image is, because a lot of times it can hold us back a lot. So I want you to think, what have you been taught about the world that has still affected you today? It could be people pleasing, never question authority, comfort. Maybe you're just a shy guy, or maybe you're just extrovert. Maybe you're bad at math. Maybe you're naturally bad at math. Maybe you're just stupid and not that smart. Maybe you're just bad at talking to people. Maybe don't talk to strangers, or that you should just make everyone happy. What is it that you've been taught in childhood that still affected you today? So when you're trying to quit bad habits or improve your life or just change your life in general, it feels like you're going up an uphill battle, or you're swimming upstream or something like that, right? And the reason why is because a lot of the actions you're taking totally go against your self-image and what you think about yourself or your sort of identity. So self-improvement for most of us is like a rubber band. So pretty much we stretch out the rubber band, we keep on stretching it, and stretching the rubber band is like making upwards progress, right? So we stretch out the rubber band, we keep on stretching it out, it's further and further and further, and then eventually it can only take so much stretching that it just snaps right back to where it started. And this is how making progress is for most of us. We make a lot of progress, it's going really good, and then eventually we can only take so much progress that we just snap back to where we started, and we get stuck in this cycle. So basically, the amount of progress you can make is limited by what you see of yourself. So the reason why you keep on ending up in the same spot is because that's where you're supposed to be. That's who you are, that's what you see of yourself, and you're not supposed to go any further because that's not who you are. So keep on ending up in the same spot because that's where your brain thinks you're supposed to be. And that's why it feels so hard sometimes to keep on doing these habits, and it feels so unnatural sometimes. So pretty much the progress that you make is limited by what you actually see of yourself. So your self-image basically controls almost all the actions you take when you're in AFK or NPC mode. So what is that? So NPC or AFK mode is what it sounds like. It's basically just the way you act without really being aware of what you're acting like. So pretty much just your default state. So certain things you do throughout the day without thinking about it, like just the way you respond to things. Certain things you just want to do every day. Certain things you just do every day. Things that just feel normal that you don't think about doing, you just do them. And our self-image basically dictates the way we act in NPC mode. All right, so here's an example of AFK or NPC mode. So let's say you were always the super quiet or shy kid that got pushed around and bullied a lot. So today you're like, I'm finally gonna change. I'm gonna act differently. I'm gonna stand up for myself. So you're thinking about it. You're kind of like, okay, cool. I'm gonna change. And then you walk down the street, someone bumps into you and says, fuck you, bitch. What do? Oh shit, you end up acting the same way you've always had. And if you notice this about self-improvement, you probably wanted to change something. Maybe like it's quitting porn or quitting junk food, and you keep reminding yourself like, okay, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna change. And it feels like a full-time job. You're always reminding yourself you gotta change. And it feels like you're swimming upstream almost, and it just takes one moment to just kind of forget, and you end up doing the same thing you've always done and fail, and you end up in the same spot that you started. And pretty much what you're doing is you're just acting on what you're programmed to do. The reason why you keep on snapping back to the same spot is because it's where you're supposed to be. It's where your natural habitat is. It's where your brain is subconsciously programmed to do time and time again. And that's why it's so difficult to change, is because you're basically doing things that are unnatural for you. So once you change the way you act by default, or basically what your NPC mode is, that's when you can make the longest term success and progress, because you can keep on doing things repetitively without thinking about it. You just do these things naturally. But right now it feels like you're doing things that are out of your habitat or extremely unnatural for you. So that's why you keep on making a little bit of progress and then bouncing back to where you started. So we basically just need to destroy our old beliefs, our old identity, and replace it with something new. So next time you go do something like hitting a workout or going on a run or just meeting up with like a group of people, think about how you want it to go. Mostly you just go there and you have the same results every single time. Next time, just think about what you want to achieve and how you want it to go. And think about it deeply, like how do you want to act? How do you want to respond to certain things? How do you want this whole thing to go? And just picture it in your head. And usually when you set clear intentions like this, it goes way better because you have something to look forward to and something to act upon, instead of just kind of going there like you always have without thinking about it and just being an NPC. Okay, so now we know that our self-image, our identity, our beliefs and all that controls the actions we take most of the time, right? So now let's give ourselves 3 goals. No more, because you need to just focus on at the most 3 things. So it could be 10% body fat, 100,000 subscribers, and quitting all of your bad habits. Now I want you to have a clear idea of what the result will be like once you achieve these things. How it'll feel to have 10% body fat, how it'll feel to have 100,000 subs, what you'll be living like, how it'll feel once you quit all your bad habits and quit video games, how it'll feel, how you'll act, like what your life will be like once this happens. Just have a clear idea of what this will be like. Because mostly when you set goals, you don't really even think about it. You just kind of like, okay, goal, and you don't even know what it's going to be like and what it's like going to look like once you achieve that goal. So once you have like a clear idea of what your goals are, and you have a clear timeline of when to achieve them, and you have a clear idea what it will be like once you achieve them, think about this. What kind of person do I need to be in order to deserve these things? Or what kind of person do I need to be in order to achieve these goals? Most of us just think of goals and we just try to take the actions, but we can't really succeed because we need to develop characteristics in order to achieve those goals, right? So what kind of person do you need to be to achieve these types of goals that you need? So what I recommend right now is you just think of all the characteristics you need in order to become this new type of person that you want to be, or become this person to achieve these goals, right? Because right now, there's a reason why you aren't there, and it's because you don't have the characteristics in order to achieve those certain things. So just think about these 3 things. So, 3 things. So what are some characteristics you have right now that don't help you with your goals? And then what are some characteristics you have right now that do help you with your goals? And then the last one is, what are some characteristics that you need in order to reach those goals? And just kind of write them down or think about it, and think about what do you need to become like, what do you need to take out of your characteristics, and what are some things you already have that will help you reach these goals. So once you figure out those characteristics that you need and don't need, just start acting more like that part of yourself that would achieve those goals already. I'm not saying to pretend like you already have 100,000 subscribers or you already make a bunch of money or whatever, right? I'm just saying start acting like you're closer to that point than you already are. Just start acting more like you're already at that point, and you'll end up just taking actions more easily than you already would. Okay, so how do we update our self-image? So pretty much just do this. So the first one is set clear intentions. The next one is visualizations. The next one is reminders. And the last one is taking actions. Pretty much the whole point of this is just to make taking action more easy. Everyone says just to take action, but taking action is a lot harder than you think. So this is pretty much just to help you take action more easy and more repetitive. All right, so number 1 is clear intentions. Give yourself a super clear goal, a clear deadline, a clear way you want to do it, It should just be as clear as possible so it's easier to take actions. Because a lot of times we'll set kind of a like general goal and we don't take actions because we don't really know exactly what to do. So make it oddly like specific and kind of autistic. The next one is visualization. So when you start taking certain actions to reach your goals, just start thinking about how it's going to go. Like, let's say you want to get more fit. Just think about how the workout's going to go. Like, visualize yourself crushing the workout. Visualize yourself like lifting super hard. And from this, it's going to be way more likely you're going to actually act like this. So before you do anything, just think about it a little bit, like how it's going to go. Like every day when I record a video, I visualize it going pretty well. You know, I visualize like speaking well, making my point well, and editing it well. And usually like it goes pretty decently. Or I don't know, maybe you think my videos are shit, but pretty much whenever you go do something, just think about it going well. Number 3, reminders. So once you set like clear intention, clear goals, and then you visualize, you know, how it's gonna go and what the end point's gonna be like and all of that, we need to constantly remind ourselves to start acting like the 2.0 version of ourselves. Constantly remind ourselves to start acting on these new characteristics we want to develop, right? And this can be kind of difficult because we're kind of going against what's natural for us. So we need to constantly remind ourselves what to do. So I have wallpapers on my phone, like papers on my wall, right? Wallpapers on my computer, notifications on my phone, pretty much just everywhere. Try to make these like characteristics and goals you want to reach just everywhere you can so you can't forget about it. And then when you're going throughout day to day, just ask yourself, like, would the better version of myself be doing this thing I'm doing right now? And just constantly ask yourself that question, and that'll keep you on kind of on guard and on point to keep, you know, making forward progress. So the last but most important one is taking action. So a lot of us just think, oh, just take action, but taking action is like kind of hard, right? And then those of us who actually do take action, how many of us take action repetitively, time and time again? That's super difficult, right? So doing these 3 things I talked about earlier will make taking action feel a lot easier and a lot more natural. So here's an example of someone that just relies on taking action. Let's just say it's a guy who is pretty fat and he wants to lose weight. So the action is just to take a calorie deficit. So he starts eating a little bit less for like 2-3 days, and then what usually happens to this type of person? They bounce back off to where they started and they start binging again. And it's like, well, just take action, bro. And they did. But the reason why they can't make long-term progress is because they haven't fixed what's going on in here, what's going on in your brain. You need to fix that first. And then once you do that, then it's going to be much easier to repetitively take the actions time and time again. So basically the best way to start making more progress in pretty much anything and to be more consistent is to basically just kill off this old version of yourself that holds you back. You have a certain self-image in your mind of who you are, you know, what you think about the world, what your limits are, the ways you're supposed to act. And once you sort of start killing this off and adapting to being a new type of person, this is when you start taking actions repetitively. So once you kill off the old growth, then there's room for new growth. So that's pretty much it, bro. I hope this helped out. And actually take action, or else I'm gonna punch you in the face. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to put in. When you want to make progress or just actually keep on doing productive actions, you need to be dissatisfied with your current situation. Because if you're satisfied with your current situation, or you're only slightly dissatisfied with your current situation, it's not enough to actually drive you to go do those actions. But when you're deeply dissatisfied, you feel gross about yourself, you don't like where you're at, that'll drive you to go do actions. So if you want to improve in something, you need to make sure that you're dissatisfied. And if you're not, then maybe you need to make your goals a little bit bigger or find out a deep reason why. Once you do that, that'll make it much easier to actually start taking consistent actions.